Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Unquestionably Raw NBA podcast. I am your host, Matthew Miller. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, DJ Gonzo Star, and we got Coach Charlie Jones back with us again. What's going on, Charlie?
Hold on, I'm back.
Outstanding. How's the season going?
Oh, man, we're struggling right now. We're young. We got 4 freshmen on varsity, so the future looks bright, but we're struggling to finish games off right now.
Hey, trust the process, right?
Trust the process.
That's right. Gonzo, what's going on with you?
Nothing much. Excited to talk basketball.
Yes. We got some good topics for y'all tonight, but I want to start with the Golden State Warriors tonight. Let me get that final. Golden State. What ended up being the final score, Gonzo?
I think 124 to 114.
Yeah, I thought it was about. Yeah, 124-114. Golden State wins. Obviously, no Durant. No, James Harden. We'll get to James Harden later because I know we haven't talked about that yet. You, Gonzo, what did a little bit like to the first really 3.5 quarters, kind of like Golden State wasn't taking it seriously. It was just another game for them. But you could see the Rockets, even without James Harden.
I think it meant a lot to Golden. I think it meant a lot to Houston without James Harden. But I honestly believe that Houston could have won this game. I think. For some strange reason, with the addition of Chris Paul, the emergence of Clint Capella, and if they had James Harden, and even if Golden State had Kevin Durant, I think, honestly, this is a series to look out for possibly in the playoffs. Because this is one of those series I believe that could go 7. I really believe that. And I'm afraid that if Golden State doesn't bring their A game, they could possibly get beat by his Houston team.
You think so?
I think the leadership,
because I noticed some things tonight, like the Rockets. Oh, they take some of the dumbest threes, like contested hands all over.
That's their game, though.
But like, can you win a best of 7 against Golden State playing like that? Especially if D'Antoni goes with the 8-man rotation, which we know he likes to do. It's going to be tough.
It could be, but see, this is my thing, though. Okay, you got a guy like Chris Paul who's able to knock down big shots. Eric Gordon can play, obviously. Capella's decent. Now you have another weapon on the bench now alongside Eric Gordon. You got Gerald Green, a guy who can knock down the 3. Playing the last few games he's been playing with Chris Paul, this dude looks – I'm not saying he's an all-star. Please do not get me confused. I don't want anybody out there to get me mixed up thinking this guy's an all-star. But playing with a guy like Chris Paul – makes Gerald Green even that much better. He can get above the rim. He can attack the basket. And the guy can shoot the 3. So that's another option that the Houston Rockets actually have. And think about this. They only lose by 10 points tonight without James Harden. The first game of the season when they played with James Harden and Kevin Durant. OKC, not OKC, but Houston comes out and gets the W. Like, even with Durant, they struggle beating Houston, and tonight without Kevin Durant, which you would think, and without James Harden, you would think they would blow Houston out. They only win by 10, and the game was close for 3 whole quarters. Houston should look at this, even at this loss tonight, and say, okay, well, we have a fighting chance because they didn't have their superstar, we didn't have ours, and we only lost by 10.
Okay, good stuff. What about you, Charlie? What did you see from Houston tonight that would make you think, hey, you know what? They can give Golden State a series, take it 6 or 7 games.
I don't see anything from anybody that anybody can beat Golden State. They might,
not even the Spurs. What about the Spurs?
Not even my Spurs. We said on here last year, and I told everybody what was going to happen to Cleveland when the Warriors played against them. They're just too good. The stat that sticks out to me is 35 assists for the Warriors, 20 for the Rockets. When the Warriors get that many assists and only turn the ball over 12 times, you see what happens. They turned it over early. They were playing really sluggish, and the game was close. They didn't turn the ball over in the second half. They dominated. And
the only reason, if you look, part of the reason the Rockets kept it close, I thought some of the insanely crazy shots Gerald Green was hitting tonight.
He was making some tough shots. I'm happy for him. You know, being a Houston guy, I'm happy for him. I just don't see I just don't see anybody beating a healthy Golden State team. They play defense too well. The addition of Jordan Bell was huge. It's like having a baby Draymond Green that they can switch everything, every position except for Curry. They can switch ball screens and cover it. They can make shots from anywhere.
Even tonight, Curry, they were switching everything. Even with Curry,
they switched.
Which I want to talk about because I liked what the Rockets did in the first half. You didn't see as much of it in the second half. I didn't think they were setting that high screen and roll, the high screen, the ball screen, and Chris Paul was getting matched up with the big man,
right,
and just going to work. So I thought the Rockets did a good job with that. Just kept getting the big. Usually you see teams try to put Curry in the screen and try to make him have to guard something, but they weren't doing. They were trying to make the big guys. Getting Pachulia out there on Chris Paul, and a few times when Bell can move his feet, but he's just being young, he jumps at a lot of fakes.
But it just shows you how good they are. The Rockets put up 124 points. I mean, they put up 124 points and lose by 10. The Warriors are just so good. They play so well together. They move the ball. You can get 30 from Curry, Klay Thompson, KD. Draymond Green's going to be hovering around a triple-double. It's just they're just good. I just don't see anybody beating a healthy Golden State team.
It's going to be tough. That's the big thing too, health, because they've had their share of injuries. Now I think some of these injuries have not been that severe. Like I know Curry missed like a month, but he probably could have came back Christmas Day. But why not? You've won every game, without him. Why rest him? Let him be healthy for the playoffs. And I think Kerr's doing a lot of things like Popovich does with the Spurs with the rest, and nobody's complaining. And that's the most important thing, getting these guys healthy so we can have a good playoff run and we can get our Cavs-Warriors matchup. Or maybe the Celtics can come out. Or we'll talk about the Raptors in a little bit. Maybe they can do it too. But speaking of injuries, James Harden, Charlie, how much do you see this hurting the Rockets? He's out at least. He's going to get reevaluated in 11 days. Could miss up to a month. How does this hurt the Rockets? Are they going to drop a few more games behind Golden State now?
I think the next big thing is Chris Paul's health and Chris Paul's durability. Because you add Chris Paul to the team, you saw what he can do for a team tonight. But I don't know how much he can do and for how long he can do it. He's been a guy that's got injured and banged up throughout the season, throughout his career. If he can stay healthy, I think he can keep him afloat. But if Harden's out too long, you don't want to drop too far down because I know we're not talking about the Thunder, but they're coming right now. The Thunder are slowly creeping up, and you don't want them to
Spurs and the Spurs and the Timberwolves.
You don't want to drop to fourth place and have to play Golden State in the second round.
Exactly. Because right now, I think the Thunder are 20-17 right now, but you've got 15 losses with the Timberwolves, or the Spurs at 12 or 13 losses. I know they lost to Philly.
The Spurs are 26-13.
Okay, so they got the 13 losses. Yeah, I mean you're only 3 ahead of the Spurs now, and if Harden's out for a month, I mean the Rockets could be sitting in 5th place if the defense falls because Bob Moute's still out. So it could be tough. Gonzo, how do you think they're going to fare with James Harden being out? You think they drop?
That could be a detriment to their record. They could fall to 4th or 5th. I think the main thing is hope for James Harden to get well soon, because I don't care what anybody says. I think that James Harden is arguably one of the top 3 or 4 best players in the world, and like he's a need for this team. They need James Harden because he can generate points when no one else can, whether that be the 3-point shot or the free throw line. He can get buckets, and that's what he does best for this team. They need him like ASAP. Like I said, if they don't have James, I see them fall. I don't think I'm gonna piggyback off what Charlie said. Like Chris Paul's health is a concern. His age, and expect him to carry a team like that for a whole month.
And his health has been a concern since he was like 25.
Right.
Yeah, he's always had like little nagging injuries.
Yep. And here's the thing:
you need James Harden.
Yes, and here's what I think hurts the most with this team: losing James Harden. With Harden and Paul on the team and healthy, you always have a top 5 or 6 point guard in the entire league on the floor at all times.
Yep.
You don't have no other team can do that, and now you take that away for up to maybe a month, and I mean, it's going to be dependent upon their schedule. Hopefully they play some bums, which, you know, they did play some bums earlier on that 5-game losing streak. You saw they lose to the injured Clippers and then the Lakers back-to-back. And then they struggled the last one with L.A., which would have been their 6th loss in a row. What was that, Sunday, New Year's Eve, I think? They go, what was it, overtime or double overtime?
Double OT. They were down like 17, 18 points.
Yeah, and look at all the injuries. That the Lakers had some injuries that game, too. No Lonzo Ball. Who else was out?
Brooke Lopez was out. Caldwell Pope wasn't there.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Caldwell Pope can't travel with the team on those long road trips yet. I saw the other day in one of the games he had like one of those detector things on his leg.
Yeah,
whatever those things are that So I feel bad for him right now, but hopefully I think it's 25 days he had to do, so it should be up soon. Then he can actually travel with the team. He goes from jail to the games right now when they're at home,
which is crazy.
So. Yes, it's crazy. But they need him. He's good defensively. Now he takes some really dumb shots for the Lakers. But all right, now we'll let me go to our next topic here. We're gonna go to Gonzo. I'm going to you first on this one. Isaiah Thomas back for the Cavs. Didn't play last night because he's not playing back-to-backs right now. But first game back looked pretty good. I think 17 points. I think they were like plus 17 or something with him on the floor. And if I'm not mistaken, he had the highest plus-minus of any guard for the Cavs this season in the game. I saw some crazy stat like that. So how do you think this affects the Cavs now?
I mean,
having him back.
I always figured the Cavs would probably finish off the season maybe number 1 or number 2 in the East. I mean, with him, that just solidifies the fact that they will probably be the number 1 or number 2 team in the East. But will they be the team like Golden State? No, absolutely not. It's not even a question. I think people undervalue Kyrie just a little bit. Like, what was Kyrie's most dangerous thing that he was able to do that kept him in the game against Golden State? First of all, it was his dribble penetration. Mm-hmm. He had some of the nastiest handles. He can get to the rim at will. Not to mention, his defense when he played Steph Curry was pretty phenomenal in the finals. He seemed to step up when he had to play against Steph Curry, a player, a possible Hall of Fame caliber player. He stepped it up. Let's be honest. Even just look at what he's doing this year. His defense has taken a step up. He's actually looked like a better on-ball defender. He rises to the occasion. Will Isaiah Thomas be able to do the same? First of all, I don't think Isaiah Thomas is nearly a good defender. I don't think that his handles are nowhere near Kyrie's. Not to mention Kyrie, they have Kyrie listed as 6'3". He's maybe 6'1", and Isaiah Thomas is probably 5'7". Mm-hmm. 5'6", 5'7". So height is a problem for Isaiah Thomas as well. So to say they would be Golden State, absolutely not. I think they probably get beat quicker against Golden State this year. But it's a good thing for the Cavs.
So if they make it, then that was going to be like I was going to go. Does this give them a chance to beat Golden State? You're saying sweep then?
Sweep, absolutely.
Charlie, what do you think of having Isaiah Thomas back now in the lineup? What this does for? Obviously, we know what it's going to do offensively for him.
Right. I don't want people to think I'm a hater, but I've never been an Isaiah Thomas fan. I'm not an NBA player, so I'm not saying I hate when people say, "Well, you can't call an NBA player bad." But I'm saying there's a reason that people got rid of him. There's a reason the Kings and the Suns got rid of him. Now the Celtics, they got Kyrie for him. I'm not going to count that one. But the Suns and Kings just got rid of him because he can't cover anybody. I'm watching the game and he is small. He's on a Cavs team that already is very terrible defensively. Jose Calderon competes on defense, and he's been getting minutes. He's not good offensively, but you throw Isaiah Thomas in there instead of him, and I just don't see them beating the Warriors. They might get to the finals. We'll talk about the Raptors later. I don't know how much they can compete and how much the Celtics can play in a 7-game series, but like Greg said, they're not beating the Warriors. It's going to be 4, maybe 5, and like you said, Kyrie competes on defense, and you can see his size and his savvy. His savvy helps him out on the defensive end. Isaiah Thomas just can't do it. So I don't think it's going to work, but they got LeBron. Mm-hmm. They got the greatest player, one of the greatest players ever. So they're going to be top 2. maybe number one, but they're not going to beat the Warriors.
I totally agree. And I think it's going to be defensively what's going to hurt him. Because like everybody said, he's tiny. He's a little guy. Steph is going to abuse him.
Yes.
Whereas Kyrie can get up into Steph. And you saw it, like, even though like Steph put up huge numbers in the finals last year. He was fantastic. Right. But Kyrie was giving him some problems. He was getting into him, and Steph had to make some really tough shots. So I don't see Isaiah Thomas doing that. I mean, he'll compete. It's not like he's just a turnstile. He's just going to let people go by him. He'll compete. Especially at playoff time, you play with LeBron, you're gonna have to compete a little bit, but his size is just gonna get the best of him, and I think that's gonna be the biggest thing.
I just don't think that they're deep. Everybody sees them as, man, they're kind of stacked, but then when you look at how they're put together, Dwayne Wade's not going to cover anybody in a series. Kyle Korver's not going to cover anybody in a series, and I'll be honest with you, LeBron James is not going to cover anybody in a series.
Not anymore.
No, not anymore. He'll cover you. Like last night against the Celtics, he played really, really, really hard in the first half, and then all of a sudden, he gets out.
It's understandable. He's 33. I mean, that's one thing with when Mike in his last few years with the Bulls, the benefit he had Scottie Pippen next to him. So Mike didn't have to. Mike could expand. Sometimes he didn't always have to check the best guy, but if fourth quarter we need to stop, I can get on him. LeBron can't do it like that anymore because he has nobody else on the perimeter who can check anyone.
And I'm not knocking LeBron. I'm not knocking LeBron for that at all. That's just the way it is. That's just the facts. Is if LeBron has to play defense for an entire game, his numbers are going to drop efficiency wise, and it happened last night. I think he went 1 for 7 in the third quarter because he gave it all in the first half. And they're still down 10. Comes out 1 for 7, misses 3 layups. I mean, point blank, just that he would usually dunk. So you throw Isaiah Thomas out there now. Hey,
you're going to have a lineup out. They're going to throw a lineup out there. You're going to have Isaiah Thomas, Dwayne Wade, LeBron, Kevin Love. Yeah, it's going to be you're going to have a lot of turnstiles out there, and it's going to be really bad defensively.
The no defensive team.
Maybe we could throw Channing Frye out there too, or we'll see. Or maybe we'll get Derrick Rose in the game if he's able to play again, because I know he's still on the team. But if I were them, because if we all notice, they started to win games when he stopped playing.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe it's not him, but
I saw the same thing. He can't cover.
I'm not trying to hate on Derrick Rose, but he is who he is now. Now we've been talking about, we mentioned the Raptors a couple of times. They're looking really nice right now, sitting at, I think, 25-10, I think, 26-10, right there with Boston, tied with losses. As they played played 4 less games, I think, so obviously less wins. But one thing I've noticed with the Raptors this year, I'm going to go to you, Gonzo. Their offense has changed. They're not as ISO heavy anymore. They're averaging 12, 13 more passes a game. Also, they're top 5 in offensive rating again, but also this year they're top 5 in defensive rating, Gonzo. What is it from the Raptors? Are they still just they're not going to do anything, or is this a different Raptor team?
No, they're the same old fraudulent, deceptive Raptors. Look, what's the story of a Raptor? It eventually becomes extinct anyway, right? Look.
Damn.
Look, all this is fool's gold. First of all, they're in the East. That's why they're one of the teams with such a good record. Yeah, they might be averaging 13 more passes. I guess per 13 more passes. I assume so. But let's be honest. They still don't have knockdown 3-point shooters, something that they're going to need in the playoffs. My question is will Kyle Lowry eventually show up in a playoff game? Because he hasn't. Will DeMar DeRozan be able to show up in a playoff game? He might have a game or two.
DeRozan was okay in the playoffs last year. He showed a little bit last year.
He was fair. Okay. It's not he didn't play like a superstar. Honestly, the only reason why Milwaukee lost that series last year was because Milwaukee didn't have any experience. That's the only reason why they lost.
And no Jabari Parker.
And no Jabari Parker. And look, they don't even have to have Jabari this year. I can almost bet if the Bucks play the Raptors again this year in the series, they're going to beat them in 6 games. Raptors won't even beat them after the first round.
Man, is that right? Dang, so if they match up with the Bucks, you don't even think
they're gonna beat the brakes off the Bucks. The Bucks are gonna beat the brakes off the Raptors this year.
I mean, I will say that would be if because Toronto will finish anywhere from 1 to 3. If they're 1, they won't play Milwaukee. Milwaukee isn't gonna finish 8th. I think the Raptors finish 3rd. They could get Milwaukee with the 6th seed. That's possible. I think Milwaukee is going to end up 4 or 5. I think so. But you don't know right now, and that would be the worst possible matchup for them in the first round. I think because that Milwaukee team is so damn long. You got Eric Bledsoe now, so now you've got a good point guard off the bench in Brogdon. Yeah, but Charlie, what about you, man? What do you think of this Raptors team? Are we seeing some different things? Are they showing you anything?
I think they're the same. I mean, they're changing their game up a little bit. They're 8-2 in the last 10. The one thing I noticed the most was I see DeRozan taking 2 more threes a game, and he's shooting 37% this year, which is up from 26. So you see he's trying to expand his game a little bit to fit what's going on in the NBA right now. Mm-hmm. But I'm not a fan of Lowry. I don't know if he can get it done against the John Walls of the world, against the Kyrie Irvings of the world. I mean, those are the people he's going to be competing against, the Eric Bledsoes of the world.
And he struggled against Brogdon in the playoffs last year.
Struggled against Brogdon. I don't know if those two can be your best players. You can get it done. If I have to put my money on it, I'm taking Bradley Beal and John Wall over them. I'm taking Kyrie and Jason Tatum over them.
You would take the Wizards right now in a playoff series over the Raptors?
I'm taking the Wizards right now.
I just don't like the Wizards' depth.
I like the Wizards. They're just up and down. When they get it. When they get it right, they're really good. I'm just not a Kyle Lowry fan. I'm just not.
I understand because I'm not either, and I know the stats guys, and I love all my stats guys out there. My analytic guys, they love Kyle Lowry. I yet have jumped on the bandwagon. I just don't see it. I mean, he's a great regular season player.
Same thing. Regular season, he's great.
Yeah, I mean, his number. He's probably going to make the All-Star team again this year. I think, even though his numbers are down, but he's taking less shots. Right. Same thing with DeRozan. They're taking like 2-3 less shots a game this year, which you see with the ball movement now. But one thing I do like about this Raptor team, they got a couple of guys in there that I really like. That obviously OJ Anunoby was not on the team. He was in college last year. He's been fantastic for him, can really defend, can guard 4 positions, can make the open 3. Then you got Van Fleet off the bench, who has been really good for them. And he was on the team last year, but didn't play. We saw Delon Wright last night with the huge game. They're going to cause some problems for people. I could see, and I was thinking about this the other day with the East. Not counting Cleveland, anybody can beat anybody in the first round this year. And anyone, it's going to be Cleveland versus, and anybody else has a shot to get to the conference finals. That's, I think, how wide open the East is. But I don't think that means the East is necessarily bad. I think there's a lot of parity of some good teams in the East.
And the one thing that helps the Raptors out is I think they're 14 or 15-1 at home. And
they're a very good home team.
Find a way to get I don't know about the 1 seed, but let's say they sneak up and the Celtics slip up a little bit. They get the 1 or 2 seed, and you got to go through Toronto. That's a tough place to play. You still might beat them there, but they're going to make
Boston has to get the 1 seed.
Yes,
because they do. Because I don't think Cleveland's going to get it because it's going to take some adjustment with Isaiah being back. Cleveland's going to finish 3rd, I think. But it doesn't matter. They're still going to get to the finals. You want to be 1, so you don't have to play Cleveland in the 2nd round. Because if you're number 2, Boston's going home in the 2nd round if they got a matchup with Cleveland. Same thing with Toronto. They're going home in the 2nd round. But if you get Toronto the 1 seed, I would say they probably get to the conference finals at least, because they're tough to beat at home. They've got a little bit more depth this year. I know they picked up P.J. Tucker last year, but no. He's not like he's going to guard LeBron. So I like this Raptor team this year. I do. I think they got to figure out what they're going to do with Valanciunas though, because he doesn't really fit that team. He's one of those like kind of traditional big guys. Even though he's a European big, he's not shooting threes. He's down low on the block, so he's not very good defensively. So we're going to have to see what happens with these guys. Now I want to go to the Western Conference a little bit. the Clippers. They've won, I think, 6 of 7 now. They're starting to get healthy. Blake Griffin's back. Teodosic has been back. I know Gallinari will be back soon. Austin Rivers is out now, but, it won't be long. And he's been pretty good for them this year, as much as everybody hates Austin. Gonzo, is this Clipper team a threat now to get to the playoffs?
Absolutely not. They're more of a threat to be a top 10 draft pick next year.
Yes.
Like they don't really have any. They don't really have any real leadership on their team. Well, Pat Beverly's hurt. I think he's out for the season. You don't really have a legitimate point guard. Like Lou Williams is a small, undersized 2, coming off the bench. Austin Rivers is coming into his own, but he's not really a leader. They don't have any leadership. Blake Griffin is a superstar, but he's not even a true leader. Let's see, DeAndre Jordan. He gets you rebounds, but he can't get you much else. Like, they're really not in a real good position. I think that, honestly, the Clippers should have been one of those teams. They're one of those teams I'm kind of upset with, kind of like I am the Bulls. They should have been tanking and start over from scratch. Like, coaching staff, just rip the whole thing apart and just rebuild.
Would you have also moved on from Blake Griffin and I know they probably still want to move DJ, but would you have moved on from Blake Griffin as well? And just tore the whole – so you just tear the whole thing down.
I would have tore the whole thing up because, like, right now it's like you're trying to build a new car with a lot of bad old pieces. First of all, we know for a fact Doc Rivers won't be there probably after this season. So it's like, why are you trying to build a team for Doc Rivers to coach that you're not going to have coaching there much longer? You're wasting time.
Good point. Yes. I somewhat agree because I think they have a shot to make the playoffs just because 7. It's wide open towards the bottom of the West. But what's the point? 7-8 seed, you're matched up with more than likely the Rockets, the Warriors, or the Spurs. You're going home in the first round anyways.
See,
tear it down, get you a draft pick.
I think that Utah. If Gobert comes back, I think they got a chance to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. New Orleans has a chance. I think Denver's definitely going to make the playoffs. I think Portland's going to make it. So honestly, I think I see Utah jumping above the Clippers. I think eventually Phoenix will probably look better than the Clippers, and they're not even that good of a team. But I think that they could be. I think they might actually jump the Clippers. Get Dallas like that. Like we look at Dallas and they're like kind of bad right now, but they're one of those teams that they get on a nice little run, they could jump a lot of these teams.
Mm-hmm. All very good stuff. I think what we've learned here, Gonzo is not a fan of the Los Angeles Clippers.
Absolutely not.
I don't think they're very good either. I think they've hit a hot streak. They've played well. They're getting some confidence, but it's not going to last. Charlie, what do you think of the Clippers? Are they a threat? Can they get to the playoffs?
I think they can get to the playoffs. I don't think they're a threat to beat anybody, but I picked them to make the playoffs originally when when the season first started. They had Beverly. I picked them to get in. They're a game and a half behind the Pelicans and the Blazers, 2 teams that are up and down with their players there already. So you get Blake Griffin back. He's taking 4 more threes a game this year at 35%. He's a good player that's just been injured, and you got a good coach in Doc Rivers. But I keep hearing, and we're going to talk about trades later, but I keep hearing DeAndre Jordan's name pop up. I feel like in a couple of weeks, if it doesn't go the way they want it to go, they're gonna blow it up, and Rivers might just walk away mid-season.
I feel bad for Austin because he may not have a place to play then. You got to thank him. He better thank his pops for that one. And he's had a good. He's played well. He gets a lot of unfair hate. No, he's not a superstar. He's never going to be an all-star. But he gets a lot of unfair hate. I'm with everybody here. It's going to be tough. On paper, even without Beverly, they look decent. You got Lou Williams. You got Griffin. Gallinari will be back. Teodosic is nice. You got DeAndre Jordan. Who else do they got on this team?
They're looking good right now. I'm watching the game.
Austin Rivers. That's what I'm saying. They look decent on paper. And I do like that Utah team though. Donovan Mitchell, that dude is nice.
Oh,
that tough. Man is a beast.
He is tough.
He's gonna hit a 3 in your mug, or he's just gonna dunk all over you. That guy is nice. But
I think they're just missing Gobert. I think they're just missing Gobert right now. Like honestly, I think that if Gobert didn't get injured early, I think they could have probably built a little more, because they showed a stat where they don't play as good with Gobert and when Donovan Mitchell and Gobert are in at the same time. But I think it's because Donovan Mitchell was a rookie and it was early on in the season. And then Gobert gets hurt, so they didn't have enough time to really gel. And then he got hurt again, so now Donovan Mitchell's kind of stepping up into that star of the team role. But when he comes back, if he comes back in enough time and they build some chemistry, be on the lookout for Utah. Utah has enough pieces to get a 7th or 8th seed in the West. They honestly do.
They play good, and they play outstanding defense. And that's the thing. And Mitchell, we all saw, he struggled shooting the ball early in the year, coming off the bench. But once they put him in that lineup, he's had a couple of hits or misses here and there, but he's young. But I totally agree. I think if they can develop some chemistry, Gobert comes back and he doesn't get hurt anymore this year, they're going to be a tough team to beat going down the rest of the season. I like what Derek Favors has done for them this year. He's been really good. Rubio's actually been nice for them. He's another guy that gets a lot of hatred, but I think he's been good for them. Having a guy out like that has helped Donovan Mitchell, I think. But now Charlie, kind of with the good segue, potential trade candidates here. Charlie, you mentioned DeAndre Jordan. Where could you see him landing if he gets moved?
The one that I kept
who could he actually help?
The one I keep hearing brought up is the Bucks. I've heard that for about the last month or so. They've been talking about Malcolm Brogdon and one more person for DeAndre Jordan. I think it was maybe Middleton or Tony Snell, and that would be I think it would be a good pickup for the Bucks. But I like the Bucks how they are right now. Middleton and Snell are really good shooters, and Brogdon's a good backup point guard for Bledsoe. And they play well together. If DeAndre Jordan goes anywhere, I just don't know. I don't know what he can do to really help.
He fit Milwaukee. He would fit with Milwaukee with his length and how long they are defensively. But now you're hurting Thon Maker's development.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, they would be one of the toughest teams to score on. But can you score enough with that team? They might. DeAndre Jordan has expanded his game a little bit. He's always one of the league leaders in field goal percentages, even though he's just dunking. But he protects the rim. He gets rebounds. But I don't know. He's kind of one of those guys that's in limbo. Like he's on the Clippers. They made a run for a while. Now they're struggling. He probably wants out. I'm sure he wants out to find a team he can play for that he can win with now.
Any other guys you think could be a potential trade candidate?
Well, Julius Randle was one that was a big trade candidate, but now he's been balling lately. That the Lakers either might keep him or he might be getting some better looks right now. I heard one the other day: Julius Randle and Jordan Clarkson for Boobie Cousins.
The Pelicans, no way they get that.
Apparently the Pelicans they're not as good as they want to be, so they're going to end up getting rid of one. They're either going to get rid of Cousins or Davis.
Cousins is a free agent, so maybe you take that trade because you get something.
Take that trade. And the Lakers, if I'm the Lakers, you take that in a heartbeat because I'm not a Jordan Clarkson fan. He shoots it every time he touches it. He doesn't get any assists. Julius Randle is Julius Randle. So if I'm the Lakers, I'm offering that right now.
Absolutely. And maybe a future. You're going to have to throw in a future pick.
Yeah, you'll have to throw something else in, but those will be the two centerpieces to the trade.
Absolutely. Gonzo, what players do you think could get moved?
I think that Boogie Cousins trade, I was going to say that. I think that's a pretty good trade. The reason why is because it gives the Lakers a piece to the puzzle. You don't have to worry about Brook Lopez as much because now you have Boogie Cousins playing with Lonzo. You could possibly get Paul George next year. You got Kuzma. You still got Ingram. But also in return, you're getting Boogie Cousins out of Anthony Davis's way. You're also if you get Jordan Clarkson as well, you're giving New Orleans something that they need: bench scoring.
Yes.
Another bench scorer. So that kind of helps them out. Not to mention putting Julius Randle alongside Anthony Davis would probably be better as opposed to Boogie, because I think a lot of times Boogie just gets in the way.
Yeah.
Not to say Boogie's not good. That's not what I'm saying.
No,
I think Boogie's. But he's just kind of in the way of Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis is more efficient. I think his head is in the right place. I think everybody wants to try to get this big three idea in their heads, but I think that sometimes some players are better off being stars on their own. And I think Anthony Davis is one of those players. I think he could possibly be a star on his own. Just get him good pieces to go around him. And then on top of that too, let's be honest, we don't even know if Gentry's going to be there next year. I hope not. I think they need a new coach to work with Anthony Davis and the players that they have, because I think New Orleans has a good enough team where they can make the playoffs. I think they're a better team. They could be a better team than Portland. I think they could be a better team than Utah. They can make it somewhere in between that 6th, 7th, and 8th seed. I honestly believe that. But I think Boogie Cousins might be the problem. So you give the Lakers an option. You pick up Clarkson and Randall. That helps your bench depth. Get yourself a draft pick in the process. You get the Lakers something to look forward to towards the future. And think about it, you can put Boogie. Just think of the lineup the Lakers could have. Boogie Cousins. You could have a Kyle Kuzma. You could have Brandon Ingram, Paul George, and Lonzo Ball. That looks really nice.
And maybe Kuzma off the bench, and you also have LeBron James.
Well, no, I'll actually have Ingram coming off the bench. I don't think Ingram's a superstar. I think Kuzma could be a superstar. I think Ingram's a nice bench player.
Okay. Well, I've got one guy that I'm looking at for as a trade. Niko Mirotic. How good has he been since he came back from having his face broken? He's been the Bulls' best player, and I know they were looking to move him anyways, probably, and he's just upped his value, and he's actually helping them win games, which is bad. It is bad to have him win games. So what you do is you trade Nico, you get another. I think you could probably get a mid-first round pick for him now. Trade him, lose games, so you can get that, your chances up there being the top 3 or 4 pick, because the Bulls, just the other day they were as high as 11 in the East. You can't keep winning games if you're the Bulls. Now they've lost a couple recently, but I think Nico's the guy they got to move.
Yeah, he's playing well enough that you can probably get something good for him. You can get something decent. Maybe a young player that will be better later on. But I just don't know. I don't know what team is going to bite on the Mirotic. Somebody like my Spurs, he would fit in really good with them. But who are the Spurs going to give up to get him? The Bulls. You're a Chicago guy. You get to see the Bulls a lot, and they're one of those teams that's just good enough that they're going to be 10th and 11th in the East and never win.
That's why you get rid of Nico.
So you get too good. So you got. I just don't know who bites on that to take him.
Philadelphia, maybe they could use Nico.
They can use him. Who do you give up if you're Philadelphia to get Nico?
Well, if Philadelphia, if we knew, I still think they're in the playoffs. Maybe they give up their pick because they've got LA's pick coming over, which goes to Boston. But Philadelphia gets their own pick, I believe. Which if they make the playoffs, it'll be anywhere from like 15. What is it? 15. So maybe like 15th, 16th pick for Nico.
I can see that.
Maybe the Bulls.
I can see that happen.
Maybe the Bulls can get. Maybe they can get that.
The Bulls need to get rid of him because he's playing too well and they're winning too many games right now, and that's not a good look for them. They got a big time draft coming up with Bagley, Porter, Ayton, Trae Young. You want to get in that top 5.
Absolutely. And if Trae Young is there, if you're the Bulls, what do you do? What do you do with Chris Dunn?
You get rid of him. You get rid of him. You take Trae Young and give him the keys.
Ooh, Trae Young.
I know he's nice, but man, Chris Dunn can play.
He can play, but Trae Young
is impressive.
Yeah, well, Trae Young is the future. He can fill it up. He can pass the ball. He's just fearless.
I hope so. I actually like Chris Dunn, and that's someone I used to hate. I remember last year as a rookie, they were playing in Phoenix and in the studio. And we all know Tom Chambers back when he was in the dunk contest in the 80s. He flat out said Chris Dunn can't play. Now Chris Dunn can play.
Yeah, he's playing well. He was one of the guys I saw in summer league, and I'm like, man, I don't know if he's ever going to figure it out. But he's playing well. He's living up to what his billing coming out of college, that he was going to be one of the top rookies in the league.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up. We've pretty much gone through everything tonight, and it's late. I've been a little under the weather with this horrible cough that I've had. It's so cold here in Illinois, so. I think that'll wrap us up. We'll try to come back next, whatever big matchup there is. We'll do the same thing, and that's how we'll go forward after the game. We'll come back on. We'll talk the game, other things that have gone on. But Charlie, let everybody know where they can find you on Twitter. I know you don't tweet much.
Oh yeah, I don't tweet I get caught in my basketball handle, but you can find me at CharlieBJones_ on Twitter. Check me out. I'll start tweeting a little bit more after my basketball season, but I try to do a little bit more of my team right now.
There you go. That's good. What about Gonzo? Let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at DJ Gonzo Star.
All right. Outstanding. All right. Good job, fellas. That'll wrap us up until next week. I'll get all those the links out again like I always do on Twitter. And we'll see everybody next week.